Senator Elizabeth Warren is climbing in the polls of the Democratic primary, but here's what Elizabeth Warren won't tell you about herself. Elizabeth Warren will tell you it's a racial slur for President Trump to call her Pocahontas after she falsely claimed to be Native American when really she has only 1/1028th Native American DNA. But she won't tell you it's a racial insult. It's cultural appropriation to claim to be a minority woman in order to advance her own career, which she did. Elizabeth Warren will tell you she believes she's Native American because that's what her mama and her daddy told her. But what she won't tell you is when representatives from the Cherokee Nation asked to meet with her, she refused them. Elizabeth Warren will tell you she wants to forgive student loan debt, up to $50,000 in debt canceled if you make under $100,000 per year. But what she won't tell you is what a privileged entitlement this is, how it benefits the upper middle class, because that's typically who goes to college, and how lower middle class and working men and women who don't go to college, they'll end up being the ones who pay off the rich kids' loans. Elizabeth Warren will tell you, no, she wants to levy an ultra-millionaire's tax to pay for this student loan forgiveness. But what she won't tell you is she's promised to use that same money from her ultra-millionaire's tax to pay for lots of other things, like the Green New Deal, Medicare for all, free college, universal childcare, universal preschool, in addition to the student loan debt forgiveness. So how far does she think she can stretch that so-called 2 cents before she'll have to start raising taxes on everybody? Elizabeth Warren will tell you all of this about her wealth tax, but she won't tell you that the government has no authority to tax assets anyway. Taxing assets is a direct tax, which experts argue is unconstitutional. A wealth tax is not an income tax, remember. It's not a property tax or a capital gains tax or even an estate tax or transfer of wealth. It's a tax on an asset, which means the government sees your bank account, and because you have that bank account with that certain amount of money in it, Elizabeth Warren thinks that justifies the government stealing some of your money. Elizabeth Warren will tell you that she thinks Donald Trump is an authoritarian, but she won't tell you she sponsored the Accountable Capitalism Act. Sounds peachy, right? Well, it's not. The Accountable Capitalism Act would give the federal government the power to essentially expropriate control over any private business that exceeds $1 billion in profit every year. That means Elizabeth Warren wants the government to steal 3,500 of the biggest private businesses in our country and make those businesses play by the government's rules or else risk losing their business. Elizabeth Warren will tell you she wants equal pay for women, but she won't tell you that paying women equally for equal work, that's already the law, and it has been since the 1960s. What she won't tell you is that the gender pay gap between men and women is due to different choices men and women make, and not sexism. What she won't tell you is Elizabeth Warren pays her female staffers less than her male staffers. So by her own logic, regardless of the different jobs the men do versus the women, Elizabeth Warren is sexist. Elizabeth Warren will tell you that she fights for the little guy and champions women, but she won't tell you she champions late-term abortion without restriction that would end the lives of hundreds of thousands of little guys and unborn women, all funded by the taxpayer. Make no mistake, Elizabeth Warren is not a moderate. She's not proposing common sense solutions. She's a radical, a socialist, a big government bureaucrat who wants to take your money and your freedom and give it to the government. And her policies prove it. And that's my final point.